Welcome back. Today we're going to use synthetic division to do a little trick that's called the synthetic process. What the synthetic process helps in is you can actually evaluate polynomials relatively easily and quickly. So let me show you what it does. Now this is called the remainder theorem, but otherwise I personally call it the synthetic process because you're using synthetic division. So given that p of x is x to the 5 minus 2x cubed minus x squared plus 2, you want to know what p3 is. So you're investigating the 3, so that's a magic number that you start with, and now you perform synthetic division on it. 1x to the 5, no x to the fourths, negative 2x cubes, negative 1x squareds, no x's, and a 2 at the end. So again, very important to make sure you're remembering those placeholder zeros. And now I pulled on my first number. Now I multiply by 3 and add. 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 Now, when you're doing the synthetic process, the answer to the question, you were looking for just what is P3? What do you get if you were to plug 3 into that? Well, what you end up getting is at 182. All right? And the cool thing is, you did it without having to use that long drawn-out polynomial, without risking typing something into the calculator wrong. You just very easily, very quickly was able to compute that. All right, let's try another example. So here, if f of x is x to the 4 plus 3x cubed minus x minus 2, what is f of negative 2? So again, we're wondering about negative 2, so that's going to be the magic number that we're using. And now I set up for synthetic division. 1x to the 4, 3x cubed, no x squareds, negative 1 x's, negative 2, and now I'm going to use the synthetic process. Pull it down, multiply by the negative 2, and add. 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 And again, this is called the remainder theorem because you were wondering what would you get if you plug negative 2 into the function. The answer is the remainder. Okay, so that's the little trick that you can do here. Again, instead of having to type all of it in and possibly do so incorrectly, all you have to do is use synthetic division on it, and you can just use that remainder and it'll be your answer. All right, so really quick, really sweet, short to the point. So make sure you have it written down. So again, you can reference this as you're doing your practice work. And then make sure you come and ask me if you have any questions.